Aloha! Welcome to MoonDaze here on New Paradigm Healing Academy Facebook group. My name is Michelle Jericho Poplar of Queen Mabsy LLC. I am here to tell you about the astrology this week. I am an Akashic astrologer and I use my intuition in a grounded sense to look at your coordinates in the sky to inform you how the things that are also outside are happening within, because everything is a mirror. So if you didn't know, the NASA space mission to the moon today, they were go check it out. It's pretty cool. They are seeing the dark side of the moon. Hi Lexi, hi mom, you pizza. So didn't know my mom is a really prolific artist, and my show notes and below I will link to her work. Do check her out. She paints everything, literally, since I was a kid, which has been always encouraging to me as far as having a very vivid imagination. So we came out of this last week with a moon. There was a full moon in La Libra. Libra is all about the sign of right relationships. It represents the scales as its symbol. It's like this or that. It's all about equanimity, and it is ruled by Venus. So Venus presently is also traversing another sign which she rules. She is in Taurus. She is at home in Taurus and in Libra. Libra is an air sign. Taurus is an earth sign. As of today, she's at 9 degrees Taurus, and she's getting ready to hook up with the planet Uranus in what we call a conjunction. And Uranus in Taurus is getting ready at the very soon this month to move into the air sign of Gemini. Uranus rules airplanes and astrology, technology, the mind. Uranus is associated generally as ruler of Aquarius. Uranus is also in a harmonic aspect with the planet Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto is the planet that says, transform through your ordeals. See them as challenges. Shift and pivot, because the old ways just don't serve you anymore. There is no way that humanity can continue on in the things that we thought were once fixed that aren't in alignment. The things that we thought that were always so aren't as stable as they once seemed. This disruption is actually happening for humanity, as Venus is in a square to Pluto. We humans are realizing about what our earthly needs are, Taurus, what we really value here on Mothership Earth, Taurus. What does Pachamama, what does Gaia say about what is our new values? All of that Venus is going to Pluto, reporting back when there's a square aspect. That means those two energies are at odds. Venus is telling the plutocracy, the ones who have the most wealth, the ones who have the most abundance. Plutocracy comes from the planet Pluto, the minerals and all of those things of the earth, which Pluto is, underworld. Venus is saying, hey, these old paradigms aren't as valuable as we once thought, because without stable infrastructure, Taurus, Uranus and Taurus is shaking up the infrastructure. Without that, there's instability. So she's reevaluating the collective values. The sun today is in Aries. We are in Aries season. Aries is the sign traditionally ruled by Mars of the warrior, the hero. But in olden astrology, it's considered an antagonist, like an agitator as far as associated with war. In modern times, in the new paradigm of what we are moving into, I liken to think of Mars, or interpret Mars as the entrepreneur, as the trailblazer, the one who gets things done and does the things, do and go and make the actions. Aligned actions is an aligned Mars. A misaligned Mars is going into the anger program. Mars is still in Pisces, and it is approaching the gateway between Pisces into Aries, going over the territory that Neptune and Saturn just had their meetup, which was like a 1 in 6,000 year transit of Neptune and Saturn on February 20th at 0 degrees Aries. That was a seeding point, a new container for what Divinity Informed, new Divinity Informed. Aries rules the body. We have agreed to be in third density, experiencing this existence so that we could have these experiences through a body, Aries. The asteroid Chiron represents healer. The healer who heals thyself has been in Aries for quite some time. So the sun, we have Chiron, we have also Mars's sister Aries. She's a really far out there body. And if you remember the Greek myth, Aries was the one who wasn't invited to the wedding on Mount Olympus. She wasn't invited. Oh my. So what did she do? Oh, she got herself a golden apple and she wrote on it, "To the fairest." And she threw it amongst all the pretty goddesses. And so the goddesses started scrapping over the apple. And arguably that's how the Trojan War started. So Aries is known as Mars' sister, as the disruptor. She's like, hey, that's not cool. I wasn't invited. Okay, I'm gonna disrupt this because that wasn't in alignment. So we have Chiron hanging out with Aries, the healer, hanging out with the I'd like to more call her more of like the activist. You know, that's why we've been seeing quite a lot of people going out on the streets with signs and basically saying, no, we don't agree. That's Aries energy. So that would explain why we've had such a large turnout on the streets, people showing up. and saying that they don't prefer the old paradigm and they would like something new. Whether or not you agree or disagree, that's the whole other polarity. But when we look at it from a place of neutrality, of what's happening, astrology helps me look at things from a place of neutrality. Be like, oh, interesting. I can see how things that are that could be seemingly on the surface be unpreferred. However, I can see in the trajectory of how these bodies are lining up that they're staging removals of things that aren't in alignment, so that way the things that are in alignment can go into alignment. So we have a stellium building in the later degrees of Aries and the early degrees of Aries. So that's just setting the stage for this week. As of today, the moon and Lilith. So the mathematical point is where the moon is farthest away from the earth. Very interesting to me. That is the dark side of the moon, and the moon mission is literally, as we speak, going around the dark side of the moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the hunger for knowledge. They want to see all of that terrain and see what's back there and analyze it and record it and put it on record. Sagittarius is where the Akashic records lie, in the middle of the galactic center. Radiation comes out of the galactic center because it's a supermassive black hole. So where the galactic center lies in your chart is generally where your intuitive, where the galactic energies show up for you. And if you want a birth chart reading, do reach out to me. I am available to help you out with that. It's very empowering to know, and well, you know, I always just validate the things that you already know, frankly, because everyone here is a very highly empathic person. Otherwise, you wouldn't have joined this group. You would have just passed us by. Mercury is in a harmonic trine aspect to Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter is the planet of Big Daddy energy, but he's in the sign of Mama, Cancer. So when he went direct on March 10th, you might have felt like a big lift of hope almost being renewed when it came to all of the things that you are nurturing and caretaking. Jupiter is in a trine aspect, a harmonic aspect to Mercury, which represents the mind in Pisces. Our subconscious has been reprogrammed over Pisces season because these planets were all in there, reprogramming the collective unconscious, Pisces, because the North Node is still there, pointing to the unknown, what we don't know about spirit. And these bodies, Mercury and Mars, are getting ready to join the party in Aries. So, big Aries energy. The sun today is in a square aspect to Jupiter. So if things weren't turning out exactly as you hoped, that would be why. Just give it another day and it'll ease up. That aspect is going to move. So let's move on to the rest of the week. Just a little overview for you as to what energies we're working with. We're in the stretch. We're in the home stretch, people. Just have to get through the second half of April. and then we're going to get to that Uranus into Gemini shift, and things are going to happen super fast. So get ready. On third, so as of, no, it's sped ahead. Okay, so we go from the moon in Sagittarius, Wednesday into Thursday, the moon will go into Capricorn. Now there's going to be a strong square aspect this day from the moon in Capricorn to Neptune in Aries. So that is heading off our feelings about our body. So what happens when we have some feelings about the structures around how we are embodying our self-care? Well, do the practice, move through the feelings, allow yourself to feel those feelings, because the moon rules feelings. Neptune rules the unconscious. So if you're feeling a little bit off when it comes to your, and it could come up with a lot of like bills, banking, more heavy things to have to deal with, because Capricorn is basically the CEO of the zodiac and it wants to get down to business. So it's gonna be squaring off, be like, hey, you gotta take care of that business instead of avoiding it. Saturn in Aries gets, hey, chop chop. Saturn at 6 degrees Aries is like, open up to me, Saturn. What's the lesson? What's the lesson here about the structures around your body? Capricorn is ruled by Saturn after all. So as the moon in Capricorn goes through Friday into Saturn day, the moon will enter into Aquarius, and it will be meeting up with Pluto. So it will be asking Pluto, checking in, how are these transformations going? Is the message getting across? Am I feeling this transformation? Am I really aligned? So the next day, this is, let me backtrack here. So very important to note, Thursday, Mars is going to be going from Thursday into Friday, from Pisces into Aries. You're going to feel a big shift that day. Why? Because Mars is at home in Aries and Scorpio. He also rules Scorpio. However, he's really at home in Aries. He's like, yeah, I made it home, feeling good. So that means both Mars and Venus are at home as of Friday. But on Thursday, we are going to get a choice. We're going to get a choice point, which usually shows up as like a test or a little final exam of the energies of Mars and Pisces. So what actions around your unconscious, reprogramming your unconscious, have you learned over the transit of Mars through Pisces? So you'll have an opportunity show up to kind of challenge you to choose 29 degrees Pisces, to choose the high self and align that high self instead of small self ego Mars, letting that ride and rule. Then over Thursday into Friday, when Mars goes in to Aries on that world point, 0 degrees Aries, that was just activated by Neptune and Saturn. He's caught up to the masters. Saturn is the teacher. Neptune is like the master guru, the spiritual teacher. It's a spiritual teacher when those two are together. It's a spiritual teaching. because Neptune is spirit and Saturn is the teacher. So then the entrepreneur, Mars, comes in and say, hey, I have a really good idea for my time in Pisces. I just have to wait for the note taker, Mercury, to catch up. So that way we can all corroborate on what this new paradigm for me and my individuation of God, Source, Creator is experiencing. So when Mars creates the seeding point and the moon moves from Capricorn in to Aquarius on Saturn Day, then the transformations, the ordeals that we've been experiencing for ourselves are going to feel like they make a little bit more sense. Because we are divinity informed and we have more information. And on Sunday, the moon will still be in Aquarius. It will cross over Pluto and it will be staging by next moon day. We will have the moon in Pisces. And the feelings, we will be healing all those feelings about the last previous week and lunar cycle. Anyway, so if you have any questions about what I said and it doesn't make any sense, that's okay. Just hear the vibration of my words and you can book a reading and I can explain it to you in depth. Let the airplane carry your worries away. Because there's a lot, there is a lot of energy supporting us right now. Let those unconscious fear programs or false evidence appearing real, when they arrive, allow yourself to get curious about it instead of more afraid. Oh, curious, that made me scared. Name it out loud. Name the thing out loud and it will dissolve. Neptune. Because there is a harmonic trine from Lilith, fear, false evidence appearing real, to Neptune, meaning that we have an opportunity to dissolve our old beliefs of fear. Lilith and Sagittarius. Sagittarius is beliefs. And then we have this beautiful cradle aspect that is holding us, that is holding the space, so that way when Uranus is about ready to station into Gemini, we will be able to take flight on those new technologies and uploads and illuminations that we'll be getting. As Uranus in Gemini is a speedy guy, and things won't happen ever as we expect, but we can allow ourselves to be pleasantly surprised. And if we're not so pleasantly surprised, we can get curious about why we're not. Because there's opportunities for learning and reaching places of neutrality in each shift. And when you come to the place of complete neutrality and radical acceptance of the things that we cannot control through the practice, where do I get this from? Who does it belong to? And how is it for me? Then we don't even need the answers, but we will have our nervous system be regulated, knowing that, well, when a planet like Uranus is in Taurus, we've had 7 years of nervous system disruptions. Because Taurus is what we thought was fixed Earth, and it's literal earthquake energy. Shake it up, because sometimes these things that you think were really stable, they're not really too much in alignment. Like, we'll be seeing massive speedy innovation, and well, artificial intelligence, air travel is not going to look anything like we can imagine, and too much information almost. So Neptune and Saturn, after going through Pisces for so long, Saturn was 3 years and Neptune was 14 years, we had a lot of illusions and delusions and media and visuals and mystical rectangles that we can broadcast to and talk to each other on, which is super cool. At the same time, you don't know everything that you see on the internet might not be actually something that was really captured. It could be generated by artificial intelligence. So use your discernment. Don't believe everything that you see. How will you know? Because it'll make you feel a type of way. It'll make you feel anger, fear, or sadness. If it is misaligned, it will trigger an emotion that is not preferable. Or it just won't sit right. So just use your intuition in the coming years, because if somebody sends you something to try to convince you of this political party or that this view or that view, use your discernment. Honor their view. See them. Listen before you speak. Active and reflective listening, because the polarity aspect is great, big, huge, as we know, but it has dissipated quite a bit. So the energy is not as astrologically polarized as it was in previous months. Okay. So here we have an opportunity to listen and feel our feelings and support each other and heal those rifts that you might have with your loved ones over politics or differing views. This is the time. Even though there's a stellium of planets in Aries and all the people are like, oh no, Aries is war energy. I'm like, well, yes, that's true. And yes, it's true, that objectively true by what you see in the external news media, that's unpreferably happening. But what is happening for us is that more of us are discovering that we have shared core values, more that we agree upon than what we disagree, because the illusion and delusions of the mainstream media and has dissolved, because Neptune and Saturn are in Aries. So the jig is up. The plutocracy power over paradigm is dissolving as we speak. And the people are empowered with knowledge. And when the people are empowered with knowledge and they are regulated emotionally, grounded, and present, that's when the paradigm shifts. Anyway, thank you for co-creating this universe, Y-O-U, universe, with me and everyone around you. You are truly a gift, each and every one of you who are here and who are watching the replay and sharing this out to people you care. If you care to share, do share. This is I do this for free, out of my passion for talking about how the sky kind of reflects what we are observing in this dimension. And it's fun. It's really fun. And I really enjoy it. It brings me so much joy. And it's all part of my Jupiter in Cancer transit, because Jupiter has been activated. Jupiter and Uranus have been activating my personal chart, pointing me out, hey, you're supposed to do astrology. Okay. If I question, I just look at my chart. Oh yeah, on track. So if you feel that you need some validation that you're on track, astrology is a nice little tool to soothe the thought programs, and so that way you can get back on to the exact thing that you're planning anyway. But it also helps with timing and all those beautiful things. Anyway, I love you all. May you have a magical moon day. I love you.